Hello, my loves. How are you? I am here to make sure that the potency of this lunar eclipse will not get lost on us. So, we have a lunar eclipse in this month. There's several dynamic things that are happening in this month. March is going to feel like a portal is opened, right? We have a lunar eclipse, we have Mercury retrograde, we're in Venus retrograde, and we're about to have a solar eclipse at the end of this month. And then shortly after, we have Neptune changing signs, right? So definitely we are on the brink of very, very, very interesting openings and interesting times. And so that's what I'm here for. Well, I want to talk first about this lunar eclipse that's just going to blow us away, right? So this lunar eclipse is really about internal things, right? So a lot of the events, even though we may see them play out on a global scale, know that these things are also happening internally for us. Lunar eclipses are often felt internally. Solar eclipses are often felt externally. So we know that solar eclipse is coming up at the end of the month, we may feel some things externally with that. But with this lunar eclipse that's happening, in Virgo particularly, it is very, very significant. I'm going to say why. So Virgo is the sign of our inner moral compass, right? It's the inner moral code, Virgo. Here we have a lunar eclipse in Virgo, but we also have a south node in Virgo. And so let me explain a bit about the south node. So the south node is the things that you've gained wisdom for, the things that you've already done, the things that you now understand, the hardship, the circumstances, the challenges, the things that we did in the past in this life, past in a previous life. It's all the things that we have done then, right? So oftentimes in astrology, Virgo, this south node or K2 is often considered the demon, right? Not to say that the north node is any better, because in the north node, we find things that we're new to, right? Or we're new to taking on this new aspect of our character. In the south node, we've gotten so used to this thing in our character that we make so many decisions from that place, and that can oftentimes feel like like a coding that's existing inside of us, that we're making decisions from this deeply unconscious place. And that is K2. K2 is the subconscious or the deep conscious. With the South Node being in Virgo, my question to us is, what have we truly learned about this moral code or this moral compass that exists inside of us? Is this something that can carry us further? Or are we adjusting our internal moral code and our moral compass? Are we taking a closer look at the boundaries that we've created? And are we saying to ourselves, like, that boundary was actually a wall? That boundary was actually a wall that kept me away from people I love, or situations that I could be fully a part of without feeling unsafe. And so are all of these boundaries that we've boundaried ourselves with, are we really needing them at this time in our life? Because Pisces North Node is about the diffusion of these boundaries. So in this lunar eclipse, we may be looking really closely at the boundaries that we've created and whether or not we still need them. And if we don't, are we missing out on true connection in our relationships and in our community by having these boundaries that exist, right? This lunar eclipse can feel particularly liberating because K2, or that South node, is all about liberation and freedom. The things you've already learned, the wisdom that you've already gained, the close of a cycle. And oftentimes it is the close of a karmic cycle. So again, I ask you, are there things within us, these codes that has been placed in us, the moral code or compass that's been guiding you, that's not even your own? Was it something karmic? Are you living an ancestor's moral code? Are you living your parents' moral code? Whose moral code are you living, and are you ready to release that? And when I talk about moral codes, I talk about the sentient codes that have been placed inside of us, like perfectionism, judgment, criticism, self-sabotage, not enoughness. Those are all codes that we have been programmed with that we still live our life on, even up to today. And so with this eclipse, the freedom and the liberation can definitely come from saying, whose vision of perfection am I living? Whose criticism am I most afraid to have? Who has given me this moral compass of so much perfectionism? Who has given me a moral compass that I need to create boundaries everywhere I go and not connection? Whose moral compass is that? And it can be from the ancestors, but it could also be from society, that we've decided that we've needed to create these moral codes in us that weren't necessary because of capitalist structure or white supremacy. Oftentimes we're like, let's create another set of codes that's going to protect us. And now we're realizing they really don't. So now we'd have to decide, what moral code is it that I can follow? Whose moral code, and what is that that's happening with this Virgo moon? Who is better to do codes than Virgo? Detailed oriented Virgo. Who is better to spell you a whole different new set of codes that can lead you to really remember the codes that exist in your DNA, right? So many times these codes that have come in, and I call them sentient codes, right? These codes that have come into our matrix are not ours. We have been programmed with these codes, right? And then now we're waking up to seeing like truly who we are. We're understanding the programming that was placed in our spirit, in our DNA by spirit, and now we're waking up to that and we're seeing ourselves holy and new. Because so many of these codes have been said to separate us or to create boundaries and to separate us from our trueness, the true wholeness of us. And that's what Virgo truly is. Virgo is the quintessential virgin, the wholeness, the person who's truly whole unto themselves, always pure and always untouched. The virgin and the whore, all at the same time, remaining purely untouched and innocent. That is the essence of Virgo. It is this non-separation from purity. It is this non-separation from our innocence, regardless of what is happening in our lives. We maintain a wholeness and purity when we're connected to spirit. The only things that have separated us are these types of programming that has been purposely placed, right? Designed and purposely placed within us so we can feel more and more and more separated from spirit. So this full moon offers an opportunity to free yourself. And it's a really important opportunity because it's the South Node, right? And it offers an important opportunity to free yourself from this kind of programming and really remove any programming from your consciousness that takes you away from being a whole and complete being. And we can see this even in our words, right? The difference with I'm healed versus I'm continuing to heal and heal and heal forever. Seeing ourselves as already healed, right? And moving into a place of what it feels like to be already healed. And that truly is the removal of old codes and replacing it with the kind of codes that you feel that are important to you, right? At this time. And it's really about our daily routine, the ways we talk to ourselves, our health, our connectivity to our health and to our divinity. And Virgo is all about healing, folks, right? You probably have Virgos in your life who are consistently recommending ways that you can take better care of yourself and how you can heal, even without asking them. So this is a great opportunity to bring forward the Virgo that's in your chart or that's in you to really see where is it that you would like to spend some time removing old codes, renewing new ones in a really detailed, oriented way as only a Virgo can do. And, pay attention to the gut. pay attention to the gut. And for the remainder of the time that we have this energy of this Virgo lunar eclipse, I'm calling attention to your gut health. Virgo rules the gut, and it's the communication within the enteric nervous system that Virgo truly rules over. And that is a very, very powerful tool when we're talking about building our connection to wholeness. It's a very, very powerful tool when we're talking about what's the encoding in our gut. And so, I'm an herbalist, and so I always talk about the plants that supports the particular part of the body. And so what comes to mind for this Virgo and full moon that's also a lunar eclipse is the plant fennel. The doctrine of signatures, the cells within our enteric nervous system looks just like the fennel flower and the fennel seeds on that flower. And so doctrine of signatures tell you that when a plant looks like a part of the body, that's where it heals. And so we have this beautiful opportunity to really heal the gut. Fennel is a Mercurian plant. It's ruled by Mercury, and so it's often used for all things Virgo, who's ruled by Mercury. And we're about to enter Mercury retrograde, so yes, let's address gut health here too, right? And so the processing that happens in the gut really helps us to reprogram these codes that I've been talking about, these out of date codes, right? The gut processes information, and the type of information that we want the gut to process is pure, clear light from the divine and from spirit. And fennel is such a beautiful plant for clarity and light that we often use it to also strengthen the eyesight. So it makes absolute sense to use fennel over this time to connect you to higher forms of truth, higher forms of sight, and higher forms of clarity through stabilizing our gut health. So pay attention to these, and pay attention to the release that needs to happen. Pay attention to how we can release these old programmings that we've gotten from this matrix and what is the new programming that we want to take on. But also pay attention to the people and the places that are showing up for you with this new coding. Pay attention to the people and the places that you have to release with the old kind of programming. And pay attention to the people who show up for you now that you're getting this new programming that tell you, yes, you are complete. Yes, you are whole. You're intrinsically whole. So, this is really about healing from our brokenness and healing from the separation that's purposely programmed into us, and stay away from those folks who we know are purposely programming us with fear and separation from spirit. Stay close to your gut. Stay close to your intuition. Stay close to your feelings, and stay close to spirit. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.